You studied hard, landed the top-tier job, and broke into a tax bracket most people only dream about. But despite the six-figure salary and the luxury car, you are constantly living on the edge of financial ruin. U.S. credit card debt shows a sharp vertical line shooting past the $1 trillion mark, peaking at $1.263 trillion in 2024. But surprisingly, a massive slice of this crisis belongs to the upper middle class, earners making significantly more than the national median. Financial analysts call this demographic the Henry, high earner, not rich yet. These are professionals pulling in anywhere from $100,000 to over $500,000 a year, but who possess practically zero investable assets. Their income is immediately consumed by lifestyle creep. Every bonus gets absorbed. Buy a more expensive apartment, a premium vehicle lease, and luxury dining, leaving them with no more savings than before. They are completely trapped in simulated affluence. By trading their actual financial resilience for the mere aesthetic of wealth, these high earners leave themselves completely exposed to the slightest economic shock. To understand why a rational, highly educated person would willingly drain their bank account for aesthetics, we have to look to evolutionary biology, specifically costly signaling theory. In nature, a peacock's tail is a massive handicap, but it proves the bird is strong enough to survive despite carrying it. In human society, an expensive luxury logo does the same. It signals resource abundance precisely because it is an expensive waste of capital. The digital age has supercharged this ancestral drive. We are now forced into a relentless daily comparison between our mundane reality and the highly curated, expensive highlights of our peers. The philosopher Alain de Botton defined this psychological condition as status anxiety. It is the chronic, exhausting fear that we are falling behind societal benchmarks and losing our rank in the social hierarchy. Modern hustle culture thrives on this fear. It demands visible proof of success to secure trust and win clients, forcing professionals into a high-pressure performance where looking the part is a non-negotiable requirement. The modern consumer economy actively exploits these survival instincts. It takes our natural human need for social belonging and weaponizes it against our financial health. The market provides the exact tools needed to feed this biological urge. The automotive leasing industry, for example, allows a mid-level earner to mimic the assets of the ultra-wealthy for a monthly fee. When you lease an entry-level luxury sedan, you aren't buying a physical asset. You are renting the social status of the badge for 36 months, building absolutely zero equity in the process. This behavior has massive fallout. Manufacturers like BMW have relied so heavily on leasing to hit sales targets that it flooded the market with lease returns, which aggressively drove down the residual value of the vehicles. For discretionary retail spending, the primary enabler is buy now, pay later. These platforms act as a point-of-sale anesthetic, numbing the psychological pain of paying that usually occurs during a large purchase. They artificially inflate purchasing power by fracturing a $1,000 luxury purchase into 4 quiet, interest-free micro-installments. High earners often use these platforms to engage in loan stacking. They layer these invisible BNPL loans on top of multiple premium credit cards, effectively hiding their extreme leverage from traditional credit bureaus. These accessible credit systems allow the Henry to entirely bypass fiscal reality. But what they build is a fragile lifestyle architecture, propped up by hidden high-interest debt. Maintaining this illusion takes a severe physical toll. Deep down, the human ego experiences massive cognitive dissonance because it knows the projected wealth is a lie. Inside the brain, threat networks interpret this inconsistency as a survival threat. The amygdala sounds the alarm, flooding the bloodstream with cortisol. As levels remain elevated, the prefrontal cortex dims. Memory slips, cognitive flexibility drops, and logical financial decision-making severely deteriorates. This triggers a biological short circuit known as compensatory consumption. The highly stressed professional impulse buys more luxury goods to temporarily soothe the very status anxiety that caused the stress in the first place. This creates a tragic loop. High earners exhaust themselves in volatile, demanding careers to generate capital, only to burn that capital on depreciating status symbols just to cope with the stress of the job. True financial freedom is invisible. It buys time, autonomy, and peace of mind, assets that can never be signaled on a social media feed. Global brands and lenders have spent decades engineering this exhausting cycle of performative labor and debt. They have created a perfectly calibrated matrix designed to ensure the modern earner never stops producing and never stops consuming. If you want to understand how the world's most exclusive brands maintain their grip on consumers, you have to look past the leather and steel. These institutions deploy highly calibrated algorithms of scarcity to control demand. Over a century ago, an economist named Thorstein Veblen noticed a glitch in human behavior. He realized that for certain goods, people ignored practical utility entirely. The value of the purchase was found in its ability to broadcast social standing. This shows how this works neurologically. When you see an expensive price tag, your brain's reward centers, specifically the medial prefrontal cortex, fire up. The price acts as a placebo, restructuring your sensory experience to taste better wine, simply because the cost is steeper. This means the urge to buy luxury is not a character flaw, but a biological vulnerability, one that luxury conglomerates map out and exploit to maximize their margins. In normal economics, higher prices reduce demand. In the luxury sector, the high price is the feature attracting buyers. To keep that signal strong, brands artificially choke their own supply lines. Swiss watchmakers tightly calibrate the production of their most popular steel sports watches, leaving retail display cases purposely empty to heighten the urgency of buyers. The strategy reaches its peak at the highest tiers of fashion. You cannot walk into a boutique and buy a flagship handbag with cash. You have to be vetted by a sales associate and placed on a permanent waiting list. To prove you are worthy of that allocation, you are expected to build an extensive purchase history. You buy scarves, ready-to-wear clothing, and home goods, items you may not even want, to move up the list. This triggers what behavioral economists call the Diderot effect. Once you acquire an elite status symbol, your older possessions suddenly look inadequate. This locks you into a cycle of buying matching accessories to restore harmony to your wardrobe. The demographics most vulnerable to this are high earners not rich yet. They generate massive amounts of disposable income, but they bind that cash flow to depreciating lifestyle assets to project a specific image. They believe they're participating in the aesthetics of wealth. In reality, they're feeding a system calibrated to strip their capital before it can ever compound. The individuals at the absolute apex of the economy, the top 0.1%, reject this game. They systematically abandon conspicuous consumption. Instead, they adopt a strategy of stealth wealth. They wear hyper-expensive, completely unbranded garments made from rare materials. It acts as a silent insider handshake, communicating status only to peers who know exactly what to look for. Prominent technology founders rely on simple, unbranded attire to eliminate decision fatigue and distance themselves from mainstream status competitions. This serves as a precise defensive maneuver. In an era of widening wealth inequality, overtly displaying riches invites friction, lawsuits, and intense scrutiny. Regulators have rolled out aggressive global transparency frameworks like FATCA and the Corporate Transparency Act to identify beneficial owners. Broadcasting your net worth through loud purchases makes you an immediate target. Quiet luxury is a calculated financial shield designed to stop advertising liquidity to creditors, governments, and the general public. That philosophy of invisibility extends far beyond clothing. The true bulk of generational wealth is held entirely out of sight, locked inside anonymous legal structures. The foundation of this architecture is the dynasty trust. By transferring assets into one of these vehicles, families permanently remove their capital from the taxable estate, shielding it from estate taxes across generations. This flowchart illustrates private placement life insurance. Capital in a taxable bucket shrinks annually from capital gains and income taxes. Rerouting through a PPLI wrapper bypasses this drag. Eliminating this tax erosion allows capital to compound exponentially, vastly outperforming standard accounts. Because the insurance carrier is technically recognized as the beneficial owner for reporting purposes, the family enjoys a layer of regulatory invisibility while remaining fully compliant with the law. The most affluent families do not own their assets directly. They control them through anonymous, fortified vehicles, ensuring their wealth compounds silently while bypassing financial traps. With the capital shielded from taxes and public view, it is deployed outside the volatile public equity markets. It flows into private, physical hard assets. A major destination is natural capital, specifically timberland. Trees grow in volume and value regardless of macroeconomic recessions, providing biological compounding that ignores market cycles. For highly concentrated value, they utilize international free ports and deep mountain subterranean vaults. These facilities hold physical gold and art in sovereign enclaves, removed from national tax jurisdictions. Legendary investors concentrate on these quiet, deeply rooted, and invisible assets. They refuse to trade their cash flow for status symbols. While high earners battle each other over artificially scarce watches and waitlisted handbags, the actual elite are quietly securing private abundance. True wealth is mathematically compounding, is legally structured, and completely invisible. It is time to stop funding the illusion of status and start building the reality of wealth.